Welcome to the first week of the Pokemon Draft League. Now, this league I joined just from somebody coming into a Twitch stream that I did a while back. They said, hey, you like playing Pokemon? I'm like, oh, of course I do. Like, you interested in a draft league? And I'm like, hell yeah, of course. So they sent me some information, got me hooked up into the Discord, and we joined a draft league. We drafted some Mons, and we're going to get into the first week of the draft league. We are going to be facing Mr. Crobats himself. He's got a pretty fire team. Your boy's got a pretty fire team. Let's do this. I gotta say, I like that trainer card. It looks cool. He's kind of sitting there. He's like looking up at something. I even like the Zigzagoon there, kind of standing there in the background. So we're going to be getting into the battle here. Now, this battle, I went into it and I didn't know what to think, but we have a Bronzong lead by the opponent, and we're going to lead off with our very stunning Stunfisk. Look at that pancake. Look at that flappy pancake flat boy. So we're going to be setting up the Stealth Rock here, and they also are going to set up Stealth Rock. So a very even play right at the beginning, and we tried to raise them a layer of Stealth Rock, and it just doesn't work that way, guys. I can't do that. You can only get one layer. So we're going to get the rocks pointed on the ground, so anything coming in, it's going to break sashes or anything like that if we have those. Now, I wasn't going to. I'm like, well, I don't know what Bronzong's going to do. It could have Toxic, it could have Trick Room, it could have so many different things. So we're actually going to switch out our Stunfisk, and we're going to go into Azumarill here. And I debated going into something else, but I'm like, no. If I'm going to get this Azumarill going, this is the perfect opportunity to do it. We're going to switch in the thick bunny, and we're going to see if we can get this going. So, Bronzong is going to go for Hypnosis, putting us to sleep, but the trap card is pulled. We've got our own little trick, a Chesto Berry. So we're going to wake up. Now, that was actually designed for rest, but it actually worked out here. So we're going to be going for the Whirlpool. Now, we're going to be trapping in the Bronzong. And it's also going to do a little bit of its health every turn, but it also cannot switch out. It is going to go for Hypnosis. This time it misses. It's going to take some Whirlpool damage. And it's going to be back to us. And now we're going to go for the Perish Song. Now, the idea here is Whirlpool, they're trapped, they can't switch out, so they're going to faint in 3 turns. Unless we somehow faint first, because what if it... You never know with Bronzong, it could be popping off a Steel Beam, but it's going to go for a Heavy Slam. It's going to do decent damage. I mean, we're pretty light. It's going to do some solid damage. So more Whirlpool damage for the Bronzong, and that Perish count is going to start up. It's going to be at 3. So at this point, I could have went for another Whirlpool. I decided to be a scumbag and go for Protect, because it's not going to matter, but it's a fun move to use. So we're going to get the Protect, and it's not going to be able to hit us with the Heavy Slam. So it's going to take more Whirlpool damage, dropping the Perish Song count to 2. And I decided, well, I could go for a Protect here, I could go for a Rest, I could go for a Whirlpool, but it really didn't matter. The Bronzong can't really do much to me, since we're pretty beefy, we're thick. So I decided to go for Rest, expecting, well, Bronzong could go for Heavy Slam, but it might try to get Hypnosis again. So we go for Rest. We get our health back. Not that we had to restore much, but it's always good to stay nice and healthy. And it's going to try Hypnosis, which isn't going to work because I'm already asleep. So a pretty Galaxy Brain play by me, surprisingly. I didn't know how well it'd work, but I had to go for it. So Perish count is going to fall to 1. And I thought I'd do something just really, really dirty. We're actually going to swap out our Azumarill here. And we are going to switch back in Stunfisk. So Bronzong is going to go for a Psychic. It's not going to do too much damage to our little tanky fish boy here. We're going to get some leftovers recovery. And Bronzong is going to go down to the Perish Song. And that is 1 Pokemon down. So now we got to think, okay, what are they going to send in, right? Are they going to send in a Water type? Are they going to send in an Ice type? Are they going to send in a Grass type? What are they going to do? And I can tell they thought long and hard about it, because they're like, alright, well, it's a Stunfisk. What's it going to do? Is it going to paralyze me? And then they send in the Mr. Rime, and it's clearly not taking any damage. I wonder why. And I thought, alright, well, we could go for a Toxic, we could go for a Pain Split. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, no. Mr. Rime, it has to attack. It has to attack. We're going to go for a Pain Split. There's no reason why it's not going to go for like an Ice Beam or a Freeze Dry, and it goes for Rapid Spin. I'm like, no, that's not good. We're going to Pain Split, and it's pretty much going to do next to nothing. It's also going to up the Mr. Rime speed as well, and it's going to clear those rocks off the field, helping out his friends so they don't take that damage. Not that Mr. Rime's going to take any. So I thought, okay, well, maybe it'll attack, but I don't want to go for Pain Split again because I don't know what they're going to do. We're going to see if we can get off a Toxic. You know, get a little poison damage, slowly wear it down, and then it pops the Ice Beam, and this does some big damage, taking us down into the red, but we do survive, just thanks to Stunfisk's just natural bulk, and we're going to get some leftover recovery, but Toxic misses, and I'm like, no, it can't miss! Well, actually it can, it's 90 accuracy. I'm like, damn it, I should have been a poison type. Alright, so at this point, I could have switched, but Stunfisk is kind of on its last fin here, and I decided to just sack it off. We can pick anything here. We're definitely going to be outsped by the Mr. Rime, and that is my Stunfisk down. But you know what? He did a good job. He set up the rocks. That's the only goal we had, which kind of was voided with Rapid Spin, but he still did a good job. I'm proud of you, Stunfisk. So I can't send in the Azumarill since it's asleep. Like, what do I send in here? Well, hold on a minute. This would be a perfect time to try to clear hazards. This is the perfect time, right? Even though we're going to be sacked off, we're not going to live in Ice Beam, but we've got to send in, we've got to get rid of those hazards, right? And I really contemplated sending in other Pokemon, but I'm like, well, I don't know what this Mr. Rime has. Clearly it has Ice Beam. Obviously it has Rapid Spin, but I'm like, okay, well, what's it gonna do? So we're gonna Frisk, and we're gonna see the heavy duty booties that it obviously already had. So we go for Defog, so we can get rid of the hazards, because theirs are gone on their side. We might as well get them on our sides, but it outspeeds me. I totally forgot that Rapid Spin boosted its speed, and Noivern is gonna get absolutely destroyed by the Ice Beam. That could have taken out a whole colony of Noiverns. We weren't living that unless we had a Sash, which would have been broken by the rocks anyway. So I'm like, rats, well, this is a bummer. We can't clear hazards anymore. Obviously, we have to deal with it at this point. So I thought, alright, well, this would be an excellent time to... And I even went back and checked, because I'm like, did I not EV train this thing? Because I totally thought that I would outspeed, and it Rapid Spins, that's +1 in speed, and I didn't realize it until after we had already ended the battle and everything else. So I'm like, alright, well, that's definitely a bummer. Not good for me at all. So, unfortunately, we're going to have to send in Marowak here directly into the rocks, and if I could have cleared them, it would have been fine, but obviously, as you can see, I cannot do that. So we're going to send it into the rocks. We're going to send in old Skeletor, and we're going to take some Stealth Rock damage, knocking out 1/4 of our health. Now, I didn't know, I thought for sure they'd switch, but I'm like, no, you know what, it's fine if they switch. We're going to go for Flame Charge anyway, because maybe because they outspeed me, they'll stay in, but they don't. They actually switch to Gastrodon. Now, I did hit Flame Charge anyway. It's not going to do very much damage at all, but it is going to up our speed, giving us a +1 in speed. Now, obviously, that's not going to matter. Gastrodon is slow as molasses as is. I could have outsped this at just base speed. Even a bulky Marowak would still outspeed. So I'm like, alright, well, this is an opportune time. We're going to become a very, very big Marowak. It's time to unleash the big boy. So we're going to be Dynamaxing here, and we're going to be going for the Max Quake. Now, Gastrodon, 99% of the time, unless you're running like a physical meme set for the fun of it, is going to be a special attacker. And I'm pretty certain, I'm like, okay, this thing is definitely going to be a special attacker. There's no way in a competitive league they're going to be running a physical set. So we're going to be going for that Max Quake there. we're definitely going to outspeed, and that is going to give me a +1 in special defense to help me live some attacks. So we're going to do some pretty big damage to the Gastro down there, doing well over half. It's definitely not going to live another one. And it's going to go for a Scowl, doing some very big damage. Honestly, without that +1, that could have been a very, very scary Scald. Even with the Dynamax, we would have lived, but that +1 definitely was a big help. And now I'm thinking, alright, well, I can use